Thoughts on this very controversial outcome?
Listen, let me tell you, people have no idea how hard it is to go undefeated. And I don't care who's on your team, who's playing, whatever, you're still undefeated. I hated them using the situation because of the quarterback getting hurt. They still won games. If it was any other team than Alabama, that committee would have no other choice but Florida State. But they're afraid of saving that whole crew. That's the problem. The committee has no guts. They have no guts. It was disgusting.
The Boss and the Gloss, Monday nights from 6 to 8 Eastern.
The diehards.
There's a lot to think they're the king, you know what.
And those shows out there are awful.
But I've also been very good at grooming co-hosts to be like really national spectacular talents. And then I sit here in my basement broadcasting live.
This is funner.
I suck.
This is funner.
Funner. Is that a word? Funner? You don't even drink.
No.
The Diehards, weeknights from
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Just getting through the wind here and getting into the studio today. 330-707-4202. I guess it's an understatement, Dave Clark, as far as what's going on in the wonderful world of sports. This week was an absolute, let's just call it a firestorm when it comes to coaching. There was Black Monday, and then, can I call this Blizzard Week?
Yeah.
We have the blowing snow today, the cold weather coming our way, yada yada yada. Bottom line is what went on in coaching this week will probably I'm going on a row. I'm going to go on a stretch and say this will probably never happen again, but it is the NFL, so I can't quite go never happen again, but highly unlikely that something like this would happen. We lost Saban retired.
Mhm.
Pete Carroll is what do you want to call? He wasn't fired. He was basically demoted to another job.
Right.
Belichick was basically fired, or what do we want to call it?
Agreement. I knew it was going to happen. So
we all knew that was going to happen. They've already replaced Belichick with Gerard Mayo, which we knew that was pretty much going to happen. When they let Belichick go, you knew they were pretty much. We all kept hearing about Gerard Mayo's name in the.
And then you find out why. Because you heard that it was written in his contract.
Right.
If Belichick is released, he'll be the first one that looked at
He had the job.
Yeah, he had that job. So.
It was his job. That's why they didn't have to interview anybody.
Right. That's why they can get through that
they
Rooney
went through
rule.
that whole Rooney rule.
And he covers the Rooney rule too. So.
He covers the Rooney rule. So he's the first black coach in New England Patriot history.
Yeah.
And he's only, I believe, 35 or 36.
37, they said.
37. Thank you. So he's the youngest head coach now in the NFL. So he's got the job. Again, no surprise. We heard this all inkling with Belichick during the regular season. Belichick went in Monday acting like I'm here work. Bill knew he was going to be gone. Now the question's going to be, does he get a job?
I think so.
Someone will hire him.
Yeah.
I did the quick math and I came up with 8 jobs that were open. Now it's to 7 since.
Well, I think it's going to be, I actually think it's going to be more.
That's going to be the question.
Wait for it after the playoffs.
Right. Rumor is, or word is, because we speculate on this show like no tomorrow, but there are folks out there saying if the Eagles get beat by Tampa, Sirianni could be out of a job.
Yep, it's possible. And that's really giving up too early, I think. But the fall off is great. You got both coordinators gone, you got all kind of things going on. Yeah, it's possible he'll be gone also.
The next person that could be out of a job, I'll just say, okay, we'll put it this way. Who do you think is that next person?
I actually put him before Sirianni. He's the main one for me, is McCarthy.
Yes.
If the Dallas Cowboys do not go to the Super Bowl, he is gone. And especially, he'll be gone quick as a New York Minute if Bill Belichick is still available. Because it's already been rumors that the Washington, almost said the old name, but the Washington Commanders and the Chargers are really thinking about him big time. Washington big time because they need discipline and different things. They got some talent. They need discipline and direction, and he'd be the perfect guy for it. Now, the Chargers job, it's the same thing. They need discipline too. I actually think that's a better job because you got a quarterback. You got a quarterback already in place, and a good one at that. Young too.
A fact out there, I don't care who the coach is to some degree, you need a quarterback to win in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, it is what it is. You could, I've heard countless talk shows. Mad Dog Russo was just so adamant about, you need a quarterback. And this, especially now with the way this league has gone to a passing league, and it's to the point where you really need a great quarterback or a very good quarterback to basically win in the NFL. If you don't have the quarterback, you really can't win in this league. It's so hard to win. You've got to really have a quarterback in this league. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
And what makes the Charger job, obviously, like you said, so attractive is you might have you do have one of the best quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in the league The defense had issues, but again, we've seen this time and time again in the NFL. The turnaround in an NFL can be a year.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get it in really any other sport quite like the NFL, where a team could be a mediocre 4-13 team, and they could be in the playoffs the next year, get on a roll, and actually make a run toward the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you get a few adjustments, you get a couple players in certain spots, and you're on your way. And you know, that's what you've seen in Houston. Basically, you've seen the Browns putting that situation together. They had 5 quarterbacks. Was it? It's 5, I guess, with Driscoll playing this last time.
Right.
5 quarterbacks, and they had the type of season they had. They had all the fixings, as they would say it at dinner time, around everything. But the main course they never had solid there. But they had enough of guys there that this year, look where they at. You know. Now, if Deshaun Watson can come back and be anywhere close to the old Deshaun Watson, they may be good for quite some time. Because they got a young talent. They still are tough, and they draft well. So, you know, but I mean, Houston, I think, skyrocketing. I could see them just going on and on. Because they keep it, the coach is very good of putting everybody together. And he's a player coach from what I read, so.
Well, he's very underrated too. Nobody ever heard of him. I mean, they knew he was defensive coordinator, but I mean, came from San Francisco, was the coordinator, but nobody expected this. Very few people thought, and with the rookie quarterback coming out of Ohio State, which when you look at Ohio State's history, I believe Stroud is the only quarterback in Ohio State history to ever take his team to the playoffs as a rookie quarterback coming out of Ohio State. No quarterback from Ohio State University ever did what Stroud has ever done.
For me, he's the only one I know. We done been doing this show for many years, and we talk about Ohio State quarterback. It's the only one I really didn't say anything. We are saying, well, what do we think? Like negative. Oh, he's not going to be able to make it. I couldn't see where that couldn't happen because he just seemed different. Even though he's in that offense that I don't think is really. Everybody says it's a pro offense. That's not a pro offense of Ohio State. It's different.
Right.
But it is a throwing offense.
It's a throwing offense.
So you can learn all the route trees and all that with your quarterback. That's true. But they're not 1, 2, 3, or 4 reads. There's usually one read and then your second dump down, and that's it. So everything, the ball is out quick.
Right.
But you can see other things. And what you've seen with him is improvise, rushes on, get out the way, and then start progressing himself down the field. Even though Justin Fields could do that at Ohio State, he couldn't do what Stroud did. Stroud would actually progress and look for it and find a guy open. Think back about it. He wasn't your running quarterback. Even though he had enough speed to do it, he didn't do it.
He didn't do it.
Justin Fields would read, didn't see that one, didn't see 2. He just takes off.
He took off.
So he just doesn't have the acronym of a quarterback like
Stroud.
Stroud is the real deal, and that's why he's succeeding where he's at.
Well, this is going to get real interesting. We've got that. We got to get to talk that. We got to talk about the playoffs. Obviously, this is playoff weekend. It's wild card weekend. The weather is playing a factor in 2 of the venues.
Yeah.
Buffalo venue and then the Kansas City venue. Yeah. We'll get to that. Woo! It's going to be a very cold, brisk day in Kansas City, and that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Could, according to what I heard yesterday, again, listening to Mad Dog Show, he had a person from weather in Kansas City saying this could be the coldest game in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Wind chill factor is going to keep it in the below minus area. Crazy out there. I believe, like they were saying, minus. I don't know if it was minus 20. Don't hold me to it.
No, you're right because
right.
NFL Network people had their guys actually on.
Yes,
thing, and they said right now it says supposed to be a minus 27,
minus
regular
27
degrees of minus 4 during the game.
Minus 4 during the game because it's a night game.
Yeah. That's brutal for anybody.
Buffalo's going to be real snowy and windy. There was a weather like an alert out by the governor, but it's not a travel ban. And there's a difference. Somebody got on and explained that a caller called in from Buffalo and said, well, that's so they can get more assistance with snow removal and whatever they need.
Yeah.
But it's not a travel ban, so people can still go to the game. It's just
have you heard what they've done? When I listen to watch the NFL Network, like I always like to do, and then on the Sirius XM,
right?
I was listening to the NFL thing there. They actually ticket holders are coming, and anybody else, they can get a ticket a little bit lower. But the ticket holders, they want them to come out, and everybody's bringing shovels, and they're coming out to dig out, so they'll be having somewhere to sit. Now they said this happened. I forgot. They said, it was funny too. They said they dug this out one time before,
right?
But the problem that happened is, like, just for example, row 1 dug their stuff out and threw it in row 2. So somebody in row 3 put it in 2-2, and they said it was real high. So the people came that was going to sit in row 2. They came late, and they was like, "Where's my seats?" Well, they sat on top of the snow part, and people all behind them couldn't even see at the games.
Wow.
And it was fascinating. I said, "Oh man," I think it was back in 90.
Okay.
It was it was back. It was back for the Bills. And I said, "Oh my God, that is insane." But they had called for the town, which is Buffalo. That's how they are. Get them out there.
Buffalo is
to dig them out.
United.
Yes, they are.
Group.
Yep.
Yes,
they are. When I heard that, I could not believe it. And then they showed the clip, so I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." So that's gonna be some Dolphins. Well, I don't care if you play for Kansas City. Nobody gets used to it.
No.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins are going to be, I know they don't do good in cold weather games, but as you said, that's beyond cold weather.
Yeah.
That's just playing in the Arctic.
Yep. That's absolutely.
Get to those
that
games.
ball would be like a brick.
All right, getting back to the coaching vacancies as of we've got right now, we have the Raiders, the Panthers, the Chargers, the Commanders, the Patriots was open, but that's now filled. Then there is the Falcons and the Titans. Vrabel was fired this week.
Yeah.
That was another big surprise. And then the Seahawks, Pete Carroll was fired this week. So obviously the Titans was not a real shock, but a little bit of a surprise. I heard there were rumblings in Tennessee.
I kept hearing rumblings too, but about he just was going to leave.
Right.
And
he supposedly had, we'll just say they weren't getting, he and Carthon, who's the new GM, probably weren't seeing eye to eye, and people are speculating that was probably one reason why. Another reason that I heard was when he went up to New England to the Badge of Honor wearing the New England jacket during the season, gave a great speech about what it was great to be a Patriot, playing for the Patriots, and he actually won a couple Super Bowls even as a player and a coach. Evidently, that kind of didn't sit well with the owner of the Titans, and that might have also contributed to his departure, Vrabel's departure, along with the fact that he and Carthon didn't actually see eye to eye on some items. Word was that Vrabel didn't think really Carthon was qualified for the position and that he didn't really come up through the ranks was one of the word or rumors out there. Take it for what it is. But at the end of the day, we could just say that seems like there was a conflict between he and the general manager, and there was a new general manager, which also always says, we've seen this time and time again, when the new general manager comes in, I've always thought that the coach is not his guy. And if there is any kind of a riff, the GM's like, I want to get my guy in here. And we've seen that time and time again. I think it was a culmination of a lot of, and the team had a losing record for the second straight year in a row, which also didn't help Vrabel's position.
Yeah. And I'm trying, now that Carthon, is that the same one that played for the Giants?
He's his son.
It's his son, right?
Right. That's his son. That's Maurice Carthon's son.
Right? Yeah. So, his name is Ray, right? Ray Carthon.
Yeah. So like he's Maurice Carthon's son. So again, I don't know. I didn't do a lot of. I like to get.
But he's been involved in a lot of front offices that doing things in other places. But Yeah, once you call out a guy and just say, "Hey, you didn't come up through the ranks or this and that." Yeah, I don't think you you do that. I think you're out.
He's 42 years old.
Right.
His name is Ron.
Okay.
R-A-N. Ron or Rand.
Yeah, I think
I think he
it,
goes by
Rand.
Ron. I don't know if he goes by Rand. Yeah, it is Rand.
Yeah,
Rand
it is Rand.
Carthon.
Yep, that's it because I heard him say
That's
it
like
before.
I think it's right. So Rand Carthon is the son of Maurice Carthon, who played for the New York Giants, and I believe he was on the Super Bowl team.
Yep.
And the one in '86. His father was Maurice Carthon. I mean, he was. I'm looking at his resume, and it was like he started out as a pro scout with Atlanta for 4 years, 2008 to 2011. Then he was a director of player personnel for 5 years with the Rams. Then he was director of pro personnel for the 49ers for 4 years. And then he was there again for the director of player personnel. He was a pro personnel director and then a player personnel director for the Niners. Became the GM. He's 42 years old. So,
yeah, and you know what? This is the thing.
It sounds like to me he's kind of getting through the
ranks,
sort of to speak. I mean,
listen to the organizations he done that for.
Yeah,
we're not talking about confused, ragtag organizations that have problems. We're talking about places that work pretty smoothly. San Fran, and if you're not doing right, I don't think you keep a job too long. No. He was there. He was there. I think you said 5 years there when you named off the time he was at San Fran.
If you count it was 2008, 11. That's like 4 years, and then he was with that was Atlanta. Then he was with 5 years with the Rams. And then he was actually from 2017 to 2022, he was with the 49ers.
No, you don't stay there 6 years.
No.
In that front office position and be somebody that just he moved on because he got a
better job.
They called him.
He moved up.
Yeah. Yeah, that would do it right there. Yeah, that's a low blow there.
I'm not sure. That was kind of the word out there.
Yeah. And don't know if he really said, but if he did, that's not too good to say.
I kind of think what this comes down to is this, though. I go back to Carthon's the GM. Rabel's not his guy. Team's lost 2 years in a row, not going in a good direction. Right. They thought the team's going to continue to, kind of spiral down. We need a new voice. We need a new. And Carthon's figuring, I want to get a guy in here that I know I'm comfortable with because we have to turn this thing around.
And they have been. I mean, I like Vrabel, but they have been going the wrong way.
They haven't been playing well.
They haven't been playing good for.
This was not a good year.
No, and last year wasn't great.
Right.
And the other one before that was a little shaky. It was during. I think they might have made the playoffs, but it still was shaky. It just wasn't consistent. That's what it would be. I would say just not consistent. And now, hey, that's what happens. But he'll find a job quickly.
Well, that's going to be the question's going to be. Now you have all these openings. Rabel's not going to be without a job.
Was he going to push Ryan Day out?
Well,
I don't know if that would happen, though.
Speaking of college and getting back to what's going on in college, Harbaugh won, Michigan won, dominated Washington, I thought, pretty much during the game.
Yeah.
Washington had a couple opportunities when they were down 20-13. They couldn't score that touchdown. Yeah. That line for Michigan, both sides of the line, you could see was just going to take over the game, and they did.
Yeah.
That was pretty clear cut. Michigan was the better team, no doubt. There's no question. The sign stealing doesn't even exist. That's stupid. Michigan was by far the best team. And those people that think they won off sign stealings, you're not watching football.
Yeah.
Bottom line, Michigan was the best team in the country. They won. Congratulations to the amazing Blue up there. I'm a Buckeye fan, but hey, they won. Give them, credit. Harbaugh is, I think, the best college coach, maybe one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah.
Question's now going to be for Jim Harbaugh. What do you do?
Yeah, no.
I have a bad feeling. I've got a feeling that he is not going back to Michigan.
Yeah,
The NCAA is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's why he's not going. I think he would stay at Michigan.
I think he would.
He's sick
but
of them.
They're mad
because
and you know what they're really mad about? It's not the sign stealing.
The burger, huh?
It's those damn burgers because he wasn't going to cooperate with them, and he gave those damn hamburgers to those recruits, and then he wasn't going to cooperate with the NCAA, and they're going to drop the hammer on him because he didn't cooperate on those hamburgers.
Yeah, all they're waiting for is to see if he's going to sign that extension.
Right.
And then once he does that, then they're going to go.
They're going to drop the hammer.
Yeah.
And I could see him. I mean, I could see the NCAA just wanting to really drop the hammer on him because he wasn't going to cooperate with them on those hamburgers. Got nothing to do with those signs. It's those damn hamburgers.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Because that's the NCAA.
Yeah, I can't stand them.
You do not screw with Mother Nature, and you don't screw with the NCAA. and those hamburgers will absolutely haunt them because he didn't cooperate with them on those damn hamburgers.
Yeah. He was something, I tell you, but
even though there's billions of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, this is unbelievable, but I know he doesn't feel like dealing with that. And one thing about his contract, if he does sign that and they try to put something to get now, you got to wonder if the NFL would agree with him, but they would probably try to do something where I don't think that'll happen again like they did.
They would Tressel.
Yeah. He'll be able to go to the NFL. And they put it in his contract that if he did resign, now he can't go in 2024. He would have to coach at Michigan under whatever the circumstances be, but he got an out the following year.
Right.
So will he feel like that's what he might want to do if he don't think any of these NFL jobs he want him? Or maybe he'll go back. But I think heart of hearts, I'm thinking, who wants to deal with them?
Yeah.
Especially nonsense stuff. Now, I think they would mess with him anyway. But if they would have lost, let's say they would have lost, let's say they would have lost to Alabama.
Yeah, Bama.
And it's been out. They probably still came after him and did whatever. But like you said, they wouldn't be as furious. He done lost. That's what we're glad. But now that they won, oh yeah, they ready to put it to him. And those jobs are sitting right there for him. I mean, I know it's either the Chargers, Raiders. I don't know if he would go to Washington, but I think the Raiders are going to. I mean, only two coaches I'm going to take. I want Pierce. I do want him. But if they didn't, it only could be Harbaugh. It can't be some other guy. It can't be Belichick. It can't be Pete Carroll. It can't be that. And I like Pete Carroll too. Nope, can't be none of them. It's got to be one of those two. And it's really, I lean towards Pierce because the players are really wanting him. They didn't gain a relationship with the guy.
The Raiders can have a real problem because I think what's going to happen is I think Harbaugh's going to the Chargers. If you're going to ask me today, if I was going to say, who do I think Harbaugh goes to the Chargers. Rumor is rumors got it. I love rumors. They think that's where he really wants to go.
Yeah.
Is the Chargers. I think he just has to get with Spanos and figure out the dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Spanos is going to be cheap about it because that's the rumors that Spanos are a little tight with the buck.
But I think he's going to open up a little bit.
I think he'll open up that checkbook a little bit because he knows that Harbaugh can come in and win right away. And everybody looks at that because he did it, how Harbaugh did it with San Francisco 49ers. And he
basically, right?
What's that?
Everywhere he's went, really, basically.
He has won everywhere he's gone.
Yeah, he turns programs around. He does.
He did San Francisco 1 year.
Yeah.
A 5-11 San Francisco 49er team under Singletary. And Singletary, just did not like, as far as coaching, he gave up on that team and they gave up on him and they parted ways. And Harbaugh came into that same team and got them to the NFC Finals, lost to the Giants in overtime. That's how quick he turned that team around in 1 year. Mm-hmm. You take a team like the Chargers, and you see everybody keeps saying how really good the roster is. It doesn't need much. Harbaugh could probably have this Chargers with the quarterback, Herbert. He could probably have them in the AFC Finals in a year, maybe in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen.
He had enough talent there. He'd get rid of the pieces that he don't need. And I know he'll do the same thing he did at Michigan,
right?
San Fran, and Stanford.
Yep.
What did he do when he went there? He got those lines.
Get the line play.
on both sides of the ball, physical, and that's what he wants, physical football. And he gets that together, and then he just screws in the rest of the pieces. And so it's a good opportunity for him. I even think that's good places for Belichick. But like I said, the rumor has been that Washington ain't going to go after.
Yeah, I think Belichick's going to end up somewhere. I think you're right. I think now I heard Atlanta was another spot for
yes, you're
Belichick
right.
too.
Yep.
That Arthur Blank really likes him, the owner of the Falcons.
Right.
He has a lot of connections in the NFL. So I could see Belichick possibly even going to Atlanta or Washington. Washington, again, they have I believe they're going after a new GM. The Chargers also needed GM, I believe. Did the
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, both of them
needed GM. So we're going to see, but I think Harbaugh's got to be on the Chargers list right away to get in there. So maybe that happens this week. We've got to get more. Alabama's got a new coach. The Washington coach is now going down to Alabama.
Yep.
That's the quarter, second quarter coming up on the Saturday Morning Sports Page on Western Reserve Radio.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
So why do teenagers play high school sports?
My reason why is a sense of purpose.
My reason why is to inspire others.
One reason student athletes seldom mention is to get an athletic scholarship. They know that only 2% of all high school athletes are awarded a sports scholarship. So why do they play?
My reason why is friendship.
Tell us your reason using the hashtag #MyReasonWhy.
This message presented by the NFHS and the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Saturday Morning Sports Page coming back at you, 330-707-4202. Here's the other thing, too. We were talking with these coaches. Belichick, obviously, he moved on. There was an article today that Kraft said that in 2014, Belichick wanted to move on from Brady because of his age, because an older quarterback, and Kraft was against that and told Belichick, no, we're going to keep him. And then obviously Brady won, 3 more Super Bowls after that time frame.
Right.
So I guess, I always heard that. I heard that because Belichick drafted Garoppolo and wanted to move Garoppolo in and wanted to move Brady out to go with Garoppolo because he was younger.
Yeah, thinking he was getting too old.
And that Belichick wasn't pleased with Brady's training regimen. The way Brady trained, I guess he had an issue with that, the way Brady trained. because it wasn't in line with the way the team was training. Because
Right.
he had that band, and he had that trainer come in.
Yep.
I remember hearing issues with that. So
You didn't like it, yeah.
yeah, they had their issues there, but they
But
won.
Now I could believe him saying that because
But that sounds, yeah.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you why. You could go. That was 2014.
14.
Go 15 years earlier. He said the same thing about Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah.
At Cleveland, when he was in Cleveland, he wanted to look something because he couldn't play no more. Well, Bernie first.
Well,
had a
he
problem
did
with Bernie.
actually. You go back,
and then
he did Bernie first.
Right.
Remember, Belichick got rid of Bernie.
Yeah.
He benched him.
Yep, and brung Vinny back.
And then he brought Vinny back.
And then
right.
other teams got Vinny, and he was one of those guys that can come in like we see Flacco do and win games for you. You didn't have to be the starter no more, but until the end of Vinny's career, he was a guy that you could just plug in there for a couple games until your guy might be injured or something until they get back. He was the perfect guy for it. So, he might, his evaluation on thinking the guys are completely done or that's it, they're on the down stride is not right quite there. Give him a chance and see what happens. Because like you said, Brady won 3 more with him. And then went and won another one.
And then turned
in
around
Tampa.
and won another one to Tampa.
So, I just, yeah. Yeah, that's, So now, but just think of it. Isn't that ironic that he felt he wanted to get rid of him because of his age? Now, him being at, I think, 71
Yeah.
or something like that.
He is.
They're ready to move on. It's the same thing now for him 10 years later. So,
Yeah,
it's just-
Belichick is basically 71.
right. And he wants to keep coaching because he wants to break that record.
He's going after Schuler's record.
Yeah, he's definitely going after that.
Thing with Belichick, when you look at these coaches' age, I was looking at this the other day. Like, the ironic part was Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick. This is what I always get kind of enamored. Pete Carroll was born September 15th, 1951. All right. Bill Belichick was born April 16th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of 1952. So, like, all these coaches are basically, and then Nick Saban,
He's around there too.
Like Nick Saban's birthday. These coaches are all within like 6 months. Like, yeah, Saban was born October 31st of 1951. So, like,
Yeah, they all right there.
Nick Saban and Pete Carroll are basically 6 weeks apart in age.
Yeah.
Belichick is maybe the youngest of the group, but he was born in April of 52, which is like 6 months or 7 months after those guys.
Right.
So all these coaches are within 7 months of one another age-wise.
Yep.
And they all lost their job. Well, Nick retired from his, but Belichick and Carroll basically, lost their jobs. They're 6-7 months apart in age, given maybe 8
And
months.
I think Pete Carroll wants to still coach because he still said
Carroll
he has the
wants
energy.
to coach.
He still has the energy. And
Got
he
the
he look
energy.
like it.
You
He
can
does.
look at him. He definitely doesn't look his age.
Right.
And you could see he's got too much energy to be an advisor. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, he probably goes nuts with being a advisor. Now, somebody said, I heard this last night, and it's a rumor, but people saying they're looking at the defensive or I think offensive coordinator at Washington to take over because he was with the head coach. They came up together at Washington. He was like his right-hand man. He said, so if you want somebody to be just like a carbon copy of the guy that left to go to Alabama, this guy would be I forgot his name, would be the perfect guy.
So,
but they said, but if they don't want to go that way, wouldn't it be something if Pete Carroll went back to college and coach at Washington since he's already in Seattle? That's where they're both located. His family is there. If he signed a 3-year contract at his age, could he go ahead back and coach that right there? And that is possible.
Now that's an interesting.
That is interesting.
That's
Yep.
very interesting.
Yep, they brung that up, and I said, "Wow, that caught me off guard."
Kalen DeBoer is going to Alabama.
Yeah,
we said the Washington coach is Kalen DeBoer. Okay, the question is going to be: do they promote? We'll look up the defensive coordinator. Washington. But do they promote from within, or do they decide they want to go outside and take Carroll? Now, it's a college. He did college at USC, very good. He got in trouble with the NCAA, though, when he was at USC. And so I don't know if Pete wants to go back there or not. You know, Pete's name is in this. Maybe folks think he could go down to the Chargers and coach there.
Right.
West
That's
Coast
another one.
guy.
Yep.
And
it's still in Los Angeles.
Yes, it
now.
is in
So
Los
it's perfect,
Angeles, even
too.
though we call it San Diego. It is. See,
Yeah.
I always look at it, it's the San Diego Chargers in Los Angeles.
Yeah. That's what they should say.
Yeah, that's what they should say. They said, well, they're really the San Diego Chargers, and it's the San Diego Chargers located in Los Angeles. That's
Yeah.
what they are, because they're still the San Diego Chargers, no matter what they say. We at least that's what.
Yeah,
and
I'd rather
who was?
do that.
Herm Edwards was on Mad Dog Russo, and he was referring to them as the San Diego Chargers.
He kept saying it. Yeah, you can't help it. I mean, it's
So
been like the
funny
1960s.
because I'm
Come on,
laughing and I'm listening to what he talked about. Oh, yeah, the San Diego Chargers. And the best part is he's calling them San Diego Chargers. And like Mad Dog Russo didn't correct him because he says this, he says the same thing sometimes, but he has a lot of people. Everybody still calls them the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, it's hard to hear them. It don't even sound right.
No.
And think that's what they used to be. It used to be the Los Angeles Chargers.
One year. AFL. I'm reading. I just started this great book about the AFL. I got it. I just got into it, and it's really good. But talks about all the original owners that owned those teams and how they got started. And Lamar Hunt was an absolute genius. The Kansas City owner who started the AFL and was actually very responsible for that merger with the NFL. Lamar Hunt is basically, rest in peace, a genius. The man was a genius beyond thought. I mean, he was just unbelievable, man, what he did to keep that league together and then work that league. They never had a team go under, and all those teams got merged over to the NFL, how he negotiated it again, man. The man was way before his time.
Yeah. And it used to be, since I like the Oakland Raiders, and I'll call them that. Back then, people used to think, because of the roughness of that rivalry of the Raiders
and the Chiefs,
that Al Davis and Lamar Hunt disliked each other. These guys were some of the best of friends.
Yeah, they were best of friends.
Because I remember Al Davis saying so many good things about Lamar Hunt. And if it wasn't for him, like you just said, that league would have went under.
That league would have folded.
And then he was one of the first guys Hunt went after, was Al Davis, to be the big time supporter of getting that league going.
Yeah.
So that they were the trailblazers to get that
league
going. So
they actually, and that league was so far. They started, and I didn't know this, I read this, when they started, they were playing 14 games. The NFL was only playing 12 games. Then the NFL went over to 14 games. And the NFL, it's very interesting how like the NFL, George Halas tried to put that league, under.
Yeah.
Oh, they did not want that AFL.
No, they didn't want it. Oh,
no.
Yeah. And and what's so funny is how the USFL coincides with that, because if you remember, the USFL came in and had 16 games they played.
Yeah, and then the NFL followed.
Oh, wait, hey. And they seen they were having a little battle, but then the dumbness to think they did it the wrong way.
Yeah, they did it the wrong way.
Right. It would have done it. I think it would have happened. The best franchises would have went into the NFL.
If the USFL back in the 80s stayed spring league and developed that spring league, then they potentially down the road could have maybe merged with the NFL, but they could have been really, I think the sad part was because they started to gain following. If they would have just stayed on their own and worked those teams and stayed in the spring,
stayed in the league,
they could have probably kept spring, and you could have had spring football
all the time.
Would have been alive and well, and it would have been the USFL, because I think they could have, if they would have just not taken on the NFL and left it alone, I think they could have developed that USFL into a pretty good league, and then ultimately maybe merged later. but they should
And
never.
I think it would have because it was
Yes.
getting so many stars.
It started,
Yeah,
yes.
it was getting so many guys like that, and you would have still got that trickle going on. Then eventually they're gonna say, "Hey, we got to do something about this."
Right.
And they would have got together.
Right. And the sad part was it didn't happen.
Nope.
The AFL, they took the NFL on right away in the early, like in 1959 is when he started, the Hunt started putting it together.
Yeah, that's something unbelievable.
And then ultimately they got it. They moved it.
Yeah, you got to have a guy with a
But he
sound
had
mind.
vision.
Now, the guy that started it for the Tampa Bay Bandits was
Bassett.
If he wouldn't have died, I think
Right.
what you just said probably would have happened because
Yeah,
he
he
had
was-
that idea.
He was the guy. He
They
was
said
like
he was
the
ahead
Hunt.
of his time.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was ahead of his time. And had he not had brain cancer and died at a very young age, only in his 50s, but had he stayed and lived, I think the USFL would have really developed
me
into
too.
a legitimate league and ultimately could have merged later on with the NFL. But he was kind of the Hunt of
that era.
And
Yep.
it was sad. He passed, and then the league pretty much fell apart.
Fell apart from there.
And then from there, and then we'll go down the other road. But Trump came in, wanted to take on the NFL, and ruined it.
Yeah.
And he should have just left. He should have just kept it where it was, left the NFL alone, and he could have developed that USFL. And like I said, you had a good solid base. You just needed to develop it.
Yeah.
And some of those teams might need money to continue to operate, but you
And
could
if
have
it was too low,
ultimately,
you might just had to get rid of some of them.
right? You might have
kept the
pared it
strongest.
down a little bit.
Yeah, that's all.
But at the end of the day, the great thing with the AFL to this day, and I look back, and this is when he started with the 8 teams. With the great part, he did not have none of those teams went under.
No, not one.
That was just like when you read this. I'm starting this book, and just you have to step back and say, "Wow." None of these teams went under.
Nope.
I mean, they had the New York Titans were struggling. Of all the teams, a couple other, but the New York Titans struggled. They were really having a hard time, but they got help. Rumor was that he denied it, that Hunt helped them out,
Yeah.
But he said, no, he didn't. Who knows? But at the end of the day, they were able to take the teams that were struggling initially and get them through it.
Yep.
And then when I think New York changed owners, then they had the money to keep it going. They became the New York Jets.
Jets, right. Because it's Titans.
Yeah, they were the New York Titans. And then they were, when you think about it, Kansas City was really the Dallas Texans to start.
Yep, that's what they started out.
But then Dallas, the NFL put a team in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the Cowboys the same year.
The Cowboys, the same year that they started, they were trying to put the squeeze on the AFL then.
Right.
Minneapolis, they had the team was going to go to the AFL, and then he turned around and the NFL offered him the job, and that owner went to the NFL. But they were going to put a team in Minneapolis in the AFL, only that owner changed his mind and went to the NFL because the NFL took him.
Right.
Because they were trying not to have that AFL start up.
Yep.
They were. I mean, the NFL was going to try to put the hammer down and not have them start.
Yep, and couldn't do it.
So Hunt had his challenges because not only was he trying to start up a league, but he was really fighting the NFL to start.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah. Well,
but we digress.
Yep.
As we always do on this show. Anyway, getting back to the coaches, this is going to be a crapshoot. The Titans are now looking for a coach. The Seahawks are looking for a coach. Falcons are still looking for a coach. Maybe Belichick, I heard his name may be going to the Falcons. You heard his name may be going to the Commanders. The Patriots have their coach, Gerard Mayo, which was pretty much, I think, in the works anyway. He's their coach. But now the Chargers, the Panthers, and the Raiders, we're still waiting to see what the Raiders are going to do with Antonio Pierce.
And I heard the thing as far as him being a coach has ramped up to this moving that way. So we're going to see if they'll go ahead and name him because you see he has an interview, I think, today.
Well, he's
with the Titans, right?
Yes.
I think it's the Titans.
The Giants want him for a defensive coordinator because Wink Martindale got mad at Dable because Dable fired 2 of his assistants, and Martindale got mad and basically resigned, quit, whatever it is. He walked out.
Yep.
he was very upset that Dable fired his 2 assistants, linebacker coach, and I think it was another defensive. They were brothers.
Yeah.
And Dable fired them, evidently without Martindale's approval, because Martindale said, if evidently with the approach, since you fired them, you could fire me too, and he left.
Right. Yep.
But now the Giants are looking at Antonio Pierce for their D coordinator
Yeah.
job.
No. Yep.
So Antonio Pierce is in demand out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to, like you said, believe a head coach job for the Titans. The Giants are looking at him for a D coordinator position.
And he wants the Raiders job. I know
But
he does.
That's the job he wants.
He was from that area of Oakland. I think is where he's from. I mean, I think that's where he's actually from.
Right.
Or something. So he's somewhere close to them. I know he's from that area, and that was his childhood team. So we'll see. They gotta do. Mark Davis got to think of something quickly because he's in demand, like you said, and dollars speak after a while. So but I heard
he's actually born in Long Beach, California,
Okay.
a little bit further down the coast, but he's a California guy.
Yeah.
So bottom line is that's where he grew up in Long Beach, California. He went to Paramount High School in California. So bottom line is he's a California resident. I mean, born and raised there, went to school there. Obviously, the Raiders are still associated with Oakland.
Oh yeah,
even though they're Las Vegas, we know that they're really.
Oh yeah, they're gonna still in Los Angeles. Yeah, they're gonna always.
They're always actually they're bigger in LA than the teams there anyway.
Yeah,
the Raiders are still. If you were to say who's the most liked or recognizable football team in Los Angeles, you'd get the Raiders first.
Yeah,
Rams second, and the Chargers are still San Diego.
Yeah,
they just have the San Diego Chargers playing in Los Angeles. That's what you have here.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's all that is.
Yep.
That's
feel bad for San Diego.
I do too.
I lived out there. I know they love their sports.
Yeah, they love their Chargers, man.
Padres, they love them all out there. So now to not have them. Oh man.
No, now they're again. So the Raiders don't want to make the. See, I think what's problem helping Pierce is the Raiders screwed up when they brought in McDaniel to take over head coach when they had Basashi, who was doing a great job.
Right.
And he was the older guy, special teams guy. The players loved him. I think he was like 62 years old. The players just played hard for him. He got him to the playoffs, lost a tough game to the Bengals in the playoffs, and everybody thought they would give him the job. He brought in McDaniel, and then the team just did not respond at all.
I mean, at all.
At all.
No. I mean, it's like a different team with the same players. It just wasn't there.
Boy, it was oil water mix.
Yep.
Just not a good combination. No. So Mark Davis is thinking, do I bring in another coach, or since the players have all come out in support of Pierce?
Yeah, I know.
All of them.
Yeah.
And very verbal, adamant. We want him as our head coach. We love him.
You get the stars to come out.
The stars are all coming out.
Crosby and
Max Crosby's come
Adams
out.
Has been big on that.
Big. So the players are voicing their opinion on who they want as head coach. So Davis I think my take on this is he either gets Harbaugh or he hires Pierce.
Yeah, and the thing that makes the Harbaugh situation wondering if it's going to happen, I think they did hire the GM already, the Raiders, and the GM was with. And he wasn't a GM then, but he was with San Francisco when Harbaugh was at San Francisco. They worked somewhere together, and he knows, and they was looking at that connection. Is it possible that his guy he'll want to bring would be Harbaugh, and that's very, very possible. Now that could, guys might respect Harbaugh, but if they feel a certain way, you might get this team not respond right at first. But I think once they get with Jim Harbaugh, I think that would change. But I just, do you make that same mistake twice? That's the thing. I just don't think Harbaugh would tank like Daniels did. McDaniels has shown he knows how to tank. Ask Denver.
The way this works is
did they hire a guy yet?
No, they got Champ Kelly as the interim.
He's still there?
GM. It says this is what I'm looking at now.
Yeah, because it was something I listened to that, or they about to hire this guy, but he's
he's considered a strong candidate for the job.
Who's that?
This Kelly, Champ
Oh,
Kelly.
yeah, he's the guy that's in there with Pierce. Him and
right.
Pierce
He
is
and
doing
Pierce
everything
are
now.
together. I think the way Davis has got to navigate this, I really, and I might be wrong, but I think he either hires both of them or not. Like you have Champ Kelly and Pierce are kind of at the hip.
Yeah, you got to bring them both together.
You bring them both in or get rid of. You can't bring in a GM and keep Pierce. It's going to be really hard to do because any GM he gets is going to want to bring in their guy.
Right.
I kind of lean on it. If you're going to go Pierce, you keep Kelly and let them take the team.
Yeah. And then
they're joined at the
three-year
hip.
contract and see what they can do.
Give
from
them
there.
give them the 4-year deal, both of them, and say, okay, you guys are kind of joined at the hip here.
Let's see.
You're you're going to be GM. You're going to be head coach. Pierce is head coach. Champ Kelly is the GM, and do your thing.
Yeah. Because guys do perform better when they're happy.
When they have their own GM. Right.
When they're happy, people be thinking, well, how could that make it? It makes a lot of difference.
When
you go to work happy, feel free, feel just like, your own man. You could just go. You play that way, which is loose and not things boggling you down on your mind. You go there stressed and worried about if you make this mistake or do this wrong, this is going to happen. You can't perform to your best. There's no way with all those things over your head. So, McDaniels, if he gets another head coaching job, I would be shocked. It may happen, but I would be shocked.
I think
you got two franchises that he tore them up. Because Denver was not bad when he got there. Yeah, he went to the playoffs and won one with Tebow in the big play against Pittsburgh
Steelers that year.
But it wasn't something that was going to go on and on. I mean, it's just, you could just see.
Look, some coaches are destined to be assistant coaches, and they're great at it.
Yeah, and that's what I think he is.
I do think that part of the problem in New England was with their quarterback Jones. He was doing really good under Josh McDaniel, but once Josh McDaniel left, this has kind of come out. It has come out that Belichick kind of screwed that kid up. He brought in Matt Patricia and Joe Judge to be the co-offensive coordinators.
And neither one of them,
and they both
really comfortable with it. They did
not at all, and they're both not any good at that. I'm going to call it for what it is. Patricia's a defensive guy. Judge is special teams. Why? See, this is the problem you have with Belichick. And this is just, if you look at this kind of on for what it's worth, I wouldn't put him in personnel issues. I'd keep him away for personnel at all.
That's the reason he's gone.
And that's the reason why he's gone is because, and I think the problem is, like, if you think about it, he wanted to get rid of Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And, and what's his name? Kraft said no. And he won 3 more Super Bowls. If he would have let Belichick make that decision and traded Brady in 2014, you would have never won 3 Super Bowls with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, Belichick has been pretty much not a very good GM and personnel person.
Yeah, he just needs to
He's
coach.
a great head coach. He's a great coach. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder whether or not he's a very good head coach, is because without Brady, he's not done well.
Right.
And he's kind of screwed up Mac Jones, your quarterback, by bringing in Patricia. He doesn't I sometimes question his decision-making with coaches.
Yeah. Why? I mean,
because why would you bring Matt Patricia and Joe Judge to be your offensive coordinators?
What he should have did is when he had a chance, is bring Bill O'Brien back right away.
Right away.
But he drug his feet, so Bill O'Brien signed another with
Alabama.
Yeah, so he drug his feet, so he didn't get him. But that's who he should have had. Somebody that can run. He already knows the New England way. And then he can run an offense. He already did it in New England. And they was able to smooth selling with Brady with O'Brien as the offensive coordinator when he went to Denver, I guess. So they already know he could do it, but you do that and screw that guy up. And that's what you did. I mean, that I don't understand. Now I know he can coach. The reason I say that,
no, he's a great coach.
Look at that defense.
Well, you see, and therein lies your problem with Belichick. If you think it through, he's a defensive genius. He had two. I mean, those Giant defenses back then were unbelievable. I think he's a great defensive coach. He was a great head coach when he had Brady and won all those Super Bowls. But without Brady, you start to see his weaknesses.
Well, you need a top flight quarterback.
So
period.
He's got to get, and then he's got to let go. You're an owner. You got to bring in a strong GM, and really got to say to the GM, you got to tell Belichick's going to do, but he's got to stay in his lane here.
Yeah.
You got to keep Belichick.
You got to see what team. If he's asking for full authority, they got to say no to it.
If I'm an owner and I want to hire Bill Belichick, you're a coach. But I got to bring in a really good offensive coordinator because you don't really know what you're doing on offense.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind that part. Is like if he hires the right type of coach.
But he's got to get the right coaches. But you've got to.
But I don't want him a GM.
No.
I don't want him.
I don't want him near.
Personnel. I don't want him in charge of that.
No. And he's, again, he's an old guy. You want to bring an old guy in? We'll find out. We're going to talk more. It's halftime. Saturday morning sports page, Western Reserve Radio.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge, a part of the Sports Map Radio Network.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club Fitting Center, and an Odyssey Fitting Studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Right. Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. Oh, Dave Clark, I know we really talked about the coaches the first hour, so much going on.
Too much.
We've still, the Chicago Bears have a tough decision to make.
Yeah. Here's another joint at the hip one I'm going to tell you. If they fire Eberflus, they're getting rid of Fields.
They're going to keep him.
Yeah.
The word is now that
they're getting rid of all the other coaches, aren't they?
Yeah, he's got to change his whole offensive. They pretty much got rid of the offensive coaches.
Right.
But they have to make a decision with Fields. He didn't play that good against Green Bay. At Green Bay, not a good game.
No.
he looked like he improved, but then he kind of went back to the fields.
That's the problem.
And there's your problem. So they have to make a decision: is trade him, take probably Caleb Williams, or do they look at another May?
Yeah, they said what you call it now. All of a sudden, they said May, but the Heisman Trophy winner Daniels. They was looking at all of them.
Jaden Daniels coming in. So
all three.
You got all three.
He was in the mix.
Penix didn't play a great game on Monday night against Michigan. He seemed rattled. He just seemed out of.
If he's on his
sort.
spot, he can. Oh man, he'll zip that ball. But you knock him off his spot and you could rattle him. You could
Here's
see that.
where I thought was the problem. Their running back was not the same. The Washington running back had his injury, tried to play through it. He wasn't the same player. Had their running back, and I can't remember his name off the top. Johnson. Had he been 100%, I think it's different.
Because, I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't think?
No.
He didn't seem, they could not get a running game. He couldn't make, I noticed a couple plays that he ran. He had an opening, but he didn't have that speed that he had in the past to blow through it. Yeah. And I thought if they could have got the running game going, it would have taken some pressure off of Penix. He seemed like he was just pressing the whole time.
Well, that's why I don't understand why you don't play Rodgers, the other back, because he's played great during the regular season. He did. Johnson did look great in other games.
In other games,
but that's a different defense.
But then that's true.
I don't think they were going to get a consistent run game against them at all.
Against that
had
defense.
to be Penix to get him going. I seen
And
once he got rattled,
do it.
He was done.
He was struggling the whole.
He was getting hit so much.
Does his stock drop a little bit? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a little bit,
but not much. It's only one game. He looked good.
He could throw the football.
Could throw it still.
Yeah,
he could throw the ball downfield.
Yep.
And hit the receivers in the hands at 50, 60 yards away with no problem.
Now, Caleb Williams may drop, and this is the reason because they measured him. There they go with the measurement.
Oh, no.
They got him listed as 6'1".
Right.
In an eighth or something like that.
Yeah.
They said they're looking like he's more closer to 5'11". And, we still have good quarterbacks at 5'11". You're not worried about that, but their typical thinking. Well, we want the Dre May 6'3".
6'3".
I think Daniels is 6'2.5" or something like that. They're gonna want those guys. Maybe when you go, but you may make a mistake too. But it's a crapshoot anyway.
Therein lies.
It's according to what you like. If your flavor is the tall, rangy guy, big guy, then you go with May.
The Bears have to make a decision.
Yeah.
They have the number 1 pick overall, Carolina pick. The Bears have to make that decision.
And then they'll get a lot for Fields. They will get enough.
I think they'll
get something from him because he's got talent, but he's too inconsistent.
They have to make that decision. It's going to be a tough decision to make. Do you keep him, or do you trade, or you trade Fields, and then you have your number 1 pick overall, and you have your own pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now, it's 10.
Right?
So the Bears have to make a decision. Do we take a Caleb Williams, or do we take Drake
Who's
May?
Number 2? Washington? Washington's number 2, right?
Washington's got the number 2.
Who's number 3? That's a big thing.
New England.
Okay. You're in the perfect spot, Chicago Bears. You are in dynamite spot because both of those teams want a quarterback. So they may want the number 1 guy, both of them. So I think you got 2 trade partners to talk to. And if you move only to there, you still, even if you trade basically trading Fields or something. If you are trading them, which you trade them and you can get somebody else, or you can keep Fields. You're just trading that pick, and you can keep Fields and only move to 2nd or 3rd and still get one of those quarterbacks. If you like all 3, you can still get your quarterback, and you probably could still get Marvin Harrison also.
Well, here's the deal. This is how it shakes out right now. Chicago's now at 9.
Oh,
I thought they were. No, they're.
Yeah,
according
I thought
to,
I heard 10. They moved up.
They went up. Here's how it looks like right now. Carolina's 1, Washington 2, New England 3, Arizona 4. If quarterback's going, I think Arizona's taking Marvin Harrison. I don't think he's getting past Arizona if he doesn't get picked earlier.
Yeah.
Or someone doesn't trade up and get him.
Yeah, they got to get him up.
But Arizona is probably, I would go on a limb here and say they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's there at 4. So he doesn't get out of he's not getting out of the top 5. I mean, I'm a Giant fan. I would be dancing in the streets if Marvin Harrison dropped to 6 and the Giants got him because they need a wideout like that. They need a lot of other things on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Giants would have to take him. But hear how at least Carolina, Washington, New England, Arizona 4, Chargers 5, Giants 6, Tennessee 7, Atlanta 8, Chicago 9, the New York Jets 10, Minnesota 11. Denver number 12. So Vegas sits at 13, New Orleans 14, Indianapolis 15.
That's so funny because you said 4 was Arizona. Who was 5?
Chargers.
No quarterback. 6?
Giants. That's a possibility because you only have Daniel Jones one more year on the contract. And
I still think they will, even if they don't do it in the mix of the first round, I think they will get one.
I think the Giants have to be thinking.
Yeah, you have to.
Even though you need line and you need a lot of other
somewhere.
needs,
It could be second round, but you got to be thinking about.
But you got to be thinking about grabbing one of these guys.
You got to get somebody,
right?
And it might be somebody. None of those guys we thinking of. Somebody that can be a very good developmental guy that could really get in there quickly, because you only got. It's a great contract they got with Daniel Jones.
1 year,
get right out of it.
They can get rid of him after 1 year. They owe him a boatload of money, $40 million, but that's it after next
if you
year.
Sit at the Giants and let's say Daniels, like on one mock draft, I seen that where he drops to there.
They get him.
They
the Giants
have to take him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If Jaden Daniels dropped to 6, the Giants, how they not? You have to take him.
Yeah,
and you keep him a year, let him learn under.
Yep.
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, learn the system. Bring him along, and then he should get him in there the second year and give him a year to sit like Mahomes sat in Kansas City. So that's what I think. If the Giants are sitting there at 6, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But that's going to be, again, the big question is what are they going to do with this draft and what Chicago going to ultimately do with Fields?
Yeah, it's going to be.
They're in a catbird seat because they have the number 1 pick. You could trade Fields and get more capital for him, and then you could keep the number 1, and then you actually have the number 9 pick. So you got 1 and 9. Chicago's got 1 and 9. If you draft Fields, you're probably going to get a second around. I don't know if you get a first, you get a second for him, and maybe a 5th, but then you could build some capital up.
Oh, yeah.
And you could be in pretty good shape. So we'll get to talk a lot about this as we kind of move on, but you can kind of see that right now Chicago does have that tough decision to make. You kept your head coach, so do you keep your quarterback or do you trade him and with your number 1 pick take Drake May or Caleb Williams or maybe Jaden Daniels? I mean, we don't know where these
guys
and it's going to change between now. You already brought up the thing about Caleb Williams is really 5'11 and a half. He's not 6'1". They said it at 215. But, now all of a sudden he's a 5'11 quarterback, and teams might be, well, wait a minute. That's not, he's not the 6'1 or 6'2 we thought he was.
Yeah. And then, they start looking at other stuff with all quarterbacks. Oh, what is his release like? Like, they know that he can make all the throws, but, he has this. Like, I'd never forget Randall Cunningham. Boy, was a guy ever just taken apart. No, look at him. He winds up. He can't do this. He's not going to be successful. And they said the same thing about Donovan McNabb, too. They booed that. Remember when he got drafted, they booed like crazy because they said, this guy, he winds it up. He's right.
We've seen them
we've seen a lot,
time and time again where they've basically talked themselves out of quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, people did it with Tom Brady, didn't he? He's too slow. He can't do this.
Well, he dropped to what? Not 199, right?
6th round.
And they were saying that, people are saying, well, New England was so smart in drafting him. Well, no, New England let him drop all that way too. Yeah. So they didn't think he was any good.
I forgot who it was on a show that said, when they said they were so smart. And they said, no, he wasn't.
No.
Because they passed on him 6 times.
Right.
They kept on going around.
Right.
They didn't get him. They was that smart. They took him in the beginning.
Was at least the second or third
Yeah.
round.
I mean, if you said got him, and if everybody would have said you got him as a first rounder,
Right.
and he turned out to be that. That's
Right.
a genius move.
Right. That also goes to show you one thing, that the science of drafting is basically pretty much a total crapshoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all you look at what they do in the field and everything.
Right. But you
it's
don't
certain.
know.
Yes. Well, it's always certain things
Right.
that you can't measure.
No.
Certain things you can't measure. A guy's drive, his heart.
No.
Is he at, far as he can go, or is he just at the beginning of his development?
Yeah.
He might be great.
Yeah.
Some guys might be, he looks great in college, and that's as far as he can go.
It's
He's already on
yep,
his downway.
the curve.
Yeah, you
Is
just
he
don't
in the
know.
beginning? If you take the curve,
Yep.
think of it as a mountain. Are you coming up that mountain, or are you on the downside of that mountain?
Yeah. You'd be great in college, and
you could be great in college, but you might be on the downside of the mountain.
Yeah.
And you played your best ball in college. And that's happened.
And none of that stuff you can detect.
Or you
at
get
any
a guy.
Position. At any position, too.
That's any position.
Yeah, because you don't know. So, but you got to go by what you see, and I understand that. That's what we all would do. That's what you're supposed to do. But that's the intangibles that you don't know. You don't. There's no way any of us can figure that out. Just have to wait and see.
Nobody knows.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get to our picks. NFL wild card. Let's do it now, because we could get to a lot of other stuff is out there to talk about. We'll get to that, but a lot of wild card this weekend. Today at 4:30, the Browns are at the Texans, and actually the Texans are now getting only 1.5 points. This has gone down. I believe it opened up at 2 points. Now it's down to 1.5 points.
And some of those things happen because you got the unknown about Denzel Ward. Is he playing in this game with that knee?
He was questionable.
Yeah. He got hurt in practice, so I don't know.
Home dog getting 1.5 points. Browns on the road. Oh, for the record, Dave Clark, last week we did pretty good.
Okay.
You were 10-6.
Wow.
I was 12-4. I changed my one pick.
During the game?
Yeah, I changed over to the Titans on Sunday morning and got lucky. Boy, the Titans played a great game last Sunday for their outgoing. Obviously, they didn't know Vrabel was losing his job, but boy, those guys, the Titans played, and the Jacksonville just continues the downward climb.
That's what made it surprising that.
Yeah, it was surprising that they fired Vrabel because those guys had nothing to play for, and they went out and they beat Jacksonville and they dominated Jacksonville.
Yes, they did. This is a hard one to pick. 1.5 points. They're at home.
4:30 today on NBC.
I'm just tired of hearing of all, especially in this area. I'm not a Browns fan, but I hate all the negative stuff that's always said. So you want to take them on that. But some part of me think Houston's going to win. Actually win this
With the
game.
rookie quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm going to go ahead and take the Browns. I'm going to take them. It's going to be tough, though. That is going to be a tough game there. I like it, too.
Browns just beat them recently, a few weeks ago, down there. Can they go back and do it again? But Stroud didn't play.
Right. Yeah. Case Keenum played.
Keenum played, but they beat him.
Yeah.
Now they got Flacco, was an upgrade from. Yeah, I'm kind of. This is to me. You could flip a coin either way. Yeah, I'll take the Browns too. Although I'm kind of leaning toward the Texans. That's how the closest is. Let's move to the Peacock game. People are not happy about this. I don't blame them. If you're going to watch Miami playing Kansas City tonight, and now we're told that the weather's going to be absolutely brutal. It will be, what was it? We were just minus how many degrees tonight when kickoff? Then they got the wind chill. Yeah, -4. That's not the wind chill.
With the wind chill.
That's
-27.
-27 wind chill. 4.5. So
Peacock game. Isn't that sickening?
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Well, I think what it goes to show you what NFL needs to do what Goodell needs to do here? In the end zones, he's got the sayings.
Yeah.
Well, what he needs to do is just put dollar signs all on the. And what he should do is, if you want to keep the sayings, it's fine, but you should put dollar signs all on the end zone lines and down the out of bounds. On that white thing, you should put the dollar signs because you're so different. Here's the thing. They are getting, what was it, $110,000, all right. They're getting $110 million for this. Half of that goes to the players. See, this is what half of that goes to the players.
Right.
So you had $55 million goes to the owners. They split that up 32 teams. So each team is getting what? 1.2 or 1.3 million?
Yeah.
So for 1.3 million, the team is getting 1.3 million for Peacock.
Right.
But the fans are screwed.
Yeah.
So that's how much, the NFL wants or needs. They need that money so bad. They're making billions upon billions of dollars. But you're just trying to squeeze, basically put the fans out on a Saturday night that people want to watch it. And then,
I hear people screaming about it.
Oh!
About Goodell. Oh, Goodell. But I don't even point the finger at Goodell. Because Goodell is doing exactly what the owners
want him to do. He's the puppet for the owners.
I mean, that's
his
job.
boss.
I mean, that's his boss. That's what he got to do.
Right.
So, hey, get out there and find out what's the best deal for us to make as much money as possible. What he supposed to do? Go out there and try to do something? No, he's going to try to find the best possible deal to do. That's his job.
Well,
I don't even have nothing against him. I just think it's wrong that they're doing it as a whole.
People get concerned because it's this pay-per-view thing. That's what ruined boxing. What ruined boxing was pay-per-view. Because they got people just forgot, boxing just went down along a lot of the wayside.
Because it went too high.
It went too high. They got crazy with pay-per-view, and the people they weren't buying that. Yeah. Then they lost total interest in the boxers, and they've, after a while, they didn't even know who or cared who the champ was. So people think, or there's concern there from a lot of your experts, that if, football wants to really go down the pay-per-view road, you're going to start making people upset, losing viewers. But the sad part is the NFL knows they got the hot product, and people are going to buy it. If they're going to watch this game tonight, people are going to complain. I
already know people that bought Peacock for the month. They don't care.
They don't care. They're going to buy it.
Yeah.
So the Peacock game is on tonight. It's 8:00. Chiefs are getting -4.5, so they lay 4.5 to the Miami Dolphins.
I got to take KC.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so cold for Dolphins. If they could pull it off. But I just can't see it.
The next one is the Steelers are at the Bills.
This is a tough one.
Now, this is there was talk about them moving this game.
Mm-hmm. They're going to go to Detroit again.
Rumor was they were going to go to Cleveland.
Really?
Was one I heard that yesterday. They were thinking Cleveland for this game. Detroit's got the game the following day.
Oh, yes, they wouldn't.
So I don't think they would go to Detroit.
No, they wouldn't do that.
But I haven't heard anything recent with this. So they're going to play, but this game is supposedly going to be played in something near a blizzard between the snow coming off the lake.
But you know what?
It plows.
Pat, doesn't this just in a way kind of warm your heart of old time football?
This is it.
Seriously. I mean, when you used to see at Metropolitan Stadium, stuff like that, guys going out there playing in the most frigid of weather. That was the old time football when you want to bring it back to the old days instead of the nice comfort 75-degree inside. It's just funny. It is funny. It is.
So what do you think?
Oh, as far as
this game tonight, -9.5.
Oh,
Steelers -9.
Pittsburgh, they can run the ball. I could surprise them.
Buffalo, just for the record, they're 0-9 when they're double-digit favorites and cover. They don't cover. If you look at them, they're 0-9 for
and I don't think they're going to cover in this one.
And I don't think they are either.
I think Pittsburgh can run the football and keep this and then the weather keep everything down. And then you got Josh Allen. who can at any time is a great quarterback.
But
great,
no, he could,
but he can make big mistakes at the wrong time.
and he could keep teams in the game.
Yep. And I'm going to take that 9.5.
Okay. Let's hit.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to take Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm just going with the fact that Buffalo Bills' record as far as covering in games when they're like almost up, they're 9.5. They're this big a favorite. I'm taking the Steelers. I think the Steelers could keep it to 7.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think they'll lose 20. They could lose 10-7 or 14-7 or 14-10 game.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and hit the phones. You're on the Saturday Morning Sports page. What's up?
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Dave. How you guys doing?
Hey, Irish Mike. What's up?
Nothing. Just out and about running some errands, and thought I'd check in with you guys very quickly. What were some of your thoughts? The national championship game didn't surprise me. We all three worried about Michigan dominating up front along the offensive line and defensive lines, and that's exactly what happened.
Definitely, no surprise. They the line play for Michigan was far superior. They did it all year. It didn't matter who they played; they dominated everybody. I mean, I actually think Ohio State played of all their close games. Bama and Ohio State played them the toughest.
Correct.
Washington was kind of what I thought was a difference in the game when it was 20-13. Washington had opportunities. They had like 4 opportunities and could not tie that game. And I knew after that they were done. They just could not tie that game and make it. If they could have made it 20-20, maybe then, okay, now you got a game. But then when Washington couldn't seem to get over that hump, then once Michigan scored that touchdown to make it 27-13, I knew it was over.
Yes, correct. And at the end of the day, Michael Penix had a great year, but the reality is he saw a lot of pressure on Monday night.
Yeah.
And just like any other quarterback, you're throwing the ball quicker than you want to. You're getting off your spot. I mean, you're getting sacked, you're getting hit. I mean, it just becomes a different variable when you have a second or second half less to throw than you're normally used to.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he got beat up. I mean,
he was getting.
I thought that was the Chicago Bears defense of 85 when I'm thinking about not stopping people, but hitting people, because they did. They put a physical whooping on them. They really did.
And now, now the world turns with Jim Harbaugh and what ends up happening to him. I'd be very surprised, like everybody else, if he returned to Michigan next year.
Yeah, I
People
don't
say, well, he won't return because he'll be suspended like Pete Carroll did, et cetera. But
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, like Pete Carroll, he just wants to coach in the NFL more than anything. That's what I think the variable is. He wants the NFL.
Well, here, we didn't really talk about it much, but I think, too, the landscape, and this is why I think Saban retired or maybe pushed Saban to retirement, was this whole NIL transfer portal thing. Players are now, when you recruit them, they come in and they're asking for the best NIL deal. Can you give me the best NIL deal? Because if you can't, I got another team out there. And I think the coaches, a lot of your coaches, especially your older coaches, are very upset with that, and they don't want to deal with it. Yeah. And I think there's some of that. And then that's what Gary Danielson actually said to Mad Dog Russo. He said that the landscape of college football, especially, has changed so quick in the last year with the NIL and the transfer portal. You're seeing some of these coaches, older coaches, getting out. And I think that had a lot to do with Saban wanting to retire. I mean, I think he had other reasons, but I thought that maybe the transfer portal was pretty much, and the NIL was driving those coaches crazy, and they just wanted to get out.
Yeah, that could be. You heard rumblings that Kirby Smart might be listening to the Atlanta Falcons as well in the NFL. He wouldn't have to move or anything. So, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you want to go somewhere that has a quarterback and you have a chance for success, and Atlanta needs a quarterback.
Right.
But you don't know what these college coaches are thinking. I mean, here's the reality. Every school's involved in the NIL now, but not all 85 players on your roster in scholarship are getting the same NIL deals or making the same NIL money. So you probably have 20 to 25 kids on your roster that have nothing, very little to nothing as far as an NIL deal goes, compared to other guys who might be making hundreds of thousands of dollars in NIL deals.
Yep. Right.
So they all vary player to player and school to school.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I know. To be honest with you, I always blame the whole thing on the NCAA for not getting out in front of this thing when they had the chance. They fought it and fought it and fought it. Now you have it out there, and it's, there is. But I knew that was going to happen. Once you they won't. It basically they're saying, well, NIL is basically pay for play. Well, of course it is. What did they think it was going to be? Because they don't want to pay the players, so they're going to let the NIL do it. So then they're upset. Well, this NIL has been pay to play. What planet are these people on? Didn't they see that coming? They have no foresight. Yeah. The NCAA, they have no concept, foresight, think ahead. And no, they've tried to fight this, and this is where they've got. Now they have, well, we don't have any regulations. Well, you could have got out in front of this thing and done something, and you didn't do it, NCAA. Well, now that's what you have. Too bad. Live with it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And, obviously with Nick Saban retiring and Ken Dubar now the new head coach, now the University of Washington is looking for head coach. And they had 4 or 5 players enter the transfer portal last night. I think Will Rogers, the Mississippi State quarterback who announced he was going to go to Washington last week, now just re-entered the transfer portal again last night after committing to Washington a week ago.
Yeah, hold on, Irish Mike. We'll be back after a quick timeout. Fourth quarter's coming up on the Saturday Morning Sports page on Western Reserve Radio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Let's be real. The odds of a high school athlete getting a college scholarship and making it to the pros are pretty slim. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to dream of becoming a pro athlete, even a famous one. But that's not why I play. My reason why? I love the competition.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to challenge myself.
My reason why is love for the game.
And hey, if we don't make it to the pros or onto the cover of Sports Illustrated, that's okay. Because there's every reason to believe we'll excel in something even bigger than sports. We'll excel in life.
There are lots of great reasons to play high school sports. Tell us your reason using the hashtag #MyReasonWhy.
This message presented by the NFHS and the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Saturday Morning Sports page back at you. Let's get Irish Mike back in. Hey, Irish Mike.
Hi, gentlemen. Yeah, we were talking about, obviously Saban leaving opened the dynamic, and I said the Rogers kid was Mississippi State that started the last 3 years, committed to Washington about a week and a half ago because he entered the transfer portal. And now with DeBoer going to Alabama last night, he just re-entered the transfer portal again, which is legal because when your coach leaves, you have anytime your head coach leaves, you have 30 days. The portal opens up to you automatically by law.
Yep, right. All players can
Your
transfer.
coach can leave in the middle of March, and it opens up for you. You don't have to wait
Nope.
May 1st. You can go to the portal right away.
When your coach resigns or gets fired or retires, all players on that roster have 30 days. They can enter the portal and transfer. That's new rule.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
No, there you
And
go.
here's what the other thing, Dave, people forget. We have spring football coming up in March. Most spring games are played in the middle and end of April.
Right.
So the spring transfer portal opens up May 1st and runs till like May 26th. So people saying, "Oh, we dodged a bullet because some of our players stayed in our program and unexpectedly stayed." Now I tell my friends, after spring practice, then some of your younger guys are going to turn around and leave because some veterans stayed a year longer than they anticipated.
Yeah.
Now, in their minds, rightly or wrongly, in fact, you and I talked about this many times, they have to sit on the bench for another year. They've already sat a year or two. They don't want to sit another year, so they're going to pack their bags and leave.
Yeah. Yep.
So fans get excited when veteran players stay. Who doesn't get excited, Pat? Who doesn't get excited? Young players, because they want to play.
Yeah, they want to play, and that's the and that's the
So
thing.
they'll pack their bags and leave and say, "I'm going to head to another destination." And fans will get mad at them and say, "Oh, they don't want to compete. They don't want to compete." Well, no, it's not about not wanting to compete.
No.
The fact is, you sat on the bench for a year or two. Now you're going to have to sit another year.
No.
They have aspirations to play in the NFL as well. Okay,
Right.
that's what they want to do. Like
Right.
every other kid, most kids on the roster.
Yeah,
right.
You got to be on the field and you got to be playing. If you're only playing 10 or 15 snaps a game, that ain't getting you the NFL. So they're going to leave and find another destination. It's not that they're non-competitors.
No, that's right. You're right.
So that's what fan bases all want their veterans to stay because they want to win. They want to pound their chest to the water cooler and say, "We won, we won, we won." And then when younger guys turn around and leave and take the older guys tend to leave the transfer portal guys in December and early January. Last month that we saw the craziness. The younger guys will leave after spring practice when they realize, after 15 spring practice in the spring game, they'll realize in late April, early May that they're probably going to sit another year. So, they were heavily recruited out of high school. Let me try another school now so I have a better chance or opportunity to fulfill my dream to get to the NFL. And I got to be on the field and I got to be playing.
Yeah. No, that's the problem that the coaches are now dealing with. And these kids with the opportunity that they want to play and they don't want to sit the bench if they think they're good enough to play. They want to go. And a lot of coaches are using the portal to build their team. You see that they all complain about it, but
they all going to do it.
They're all going to do it. And they all use the portal to their benefit. They complain when they lose the player, but they'll turn around and try to use the portal to replace the player. And, and a lot of the coaches
You have 85 scholarships. Most schools like Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, USC, LSU, they have probably right now 93, 94, 95 kids on their roster. Okay? They all do. The rule says you don't have to be there till August 15th. So you have another 8 months. So the reality is there is going to be movement in your programs. Every program is going to lose kids and pick up a kid here and there because that's the nature of the beast now.
Yeah. No, that's it. People have to get over it. I mean, coaches don't. The problem you have, a lot of it is the players now have power.
Mm-hmm.
They never had it before, but they have it now, and the coaches don't like it. And maybe the athletic directors don't like it. But now players have the option to transfer out and get away and get NIL deals. And again, they're using the NIL to get paid. And they're using it. They go in and coaches don't like the fact they go to a recruit. And the recruit, first thing out of the recruit's mouth is, "What's the NIL deal I'm getting at your school? Because I want to know, I want to know your number because I have a few numbers, but I'm not telling you my numbers until you give me yours." A la the negotiate.
Yep.
Mom and dad are helping. Those kids are 16, 17 years old, learning in high school when they're, because kids are already committed for the class of 2025. They play high school football this coming fall, won't graduate till next January or June of 2025. And they're already verbally committing to schools and getting NIL set up already.
Right.
And they're current juniors in high school.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
Crazy.
Hey, guys, I got to get running, but I just wanted to call and check in. You have a great weekend, Pat Davis. Always great talking to you guys.
Great.
Yep.
Thanks,
All right,
Irish
take care.
Mike, for the
Thank
call.
you, gentlemen. Bye.
See you. All right, Dave Clark. Well, Irish Mike gives us a buzz. He's right.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well,
let's get back to our picks. So anyway, the Steelers at the Bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay
There's
with
going to
that
be a
Steelers.
blizzard up in Buffalo.
Now-
I don't know how many
Now,
inches.
this is the negative I got to give you, though. 'Cause I heard this, and I didn't realize it, but it is true. The Pittsburgh Steelers, in the last 4 playoff appearances, the lowest amount of points they have given up is 36.
Okay.
They've been beat. I
So they've
forgot,
been getting-
48 to 14. 40
Yeah, I know they've been getting blown out.
Blown. I think the closest one, it really wasn't a close game. Cleveland beat them 36 to 22. But if you watch that game, if you remember that game, Cleveland dominated that game. They got some extra scores towards the end to make that 36-22 score, but Cleveland blew Pittsburgh out.
Yeah, they did.
Remember that playoff
Yep,
game?
I do.
Yep,
All the
so-
interceptions. Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So they haven't played well,
No.
but that is the a lot of times you want to look at traditional things that doesn't happen, but you got to look at what you brought up too. The Buffalo Bills have been 0-9 when they're over 10, when they're in double digits.
They're 9.5, so they're not there, but
Yeah,
they
that's
got
close.
it, but they're close.
Yeah, maybe I switch back. Maybe I should go back.
Maybe you should go back.
9.5 because it's not at the 10 mark.
No,
It was.
It was.
It was at one time because I even seen it on my phone. It was at 10, and it dropped. And I think the weather has something to do with that dropping like that.
Yeah, they have a winter storm warning issued up there, up in Buffalo, and it's going to be windy and high and snow and the whole 9 yards. So
The thing about it, if a team can put some points on the board in that weather, it would be the Buffalo Bills.
yeah,
It won't be Pittsburgh.
and I think kicking is going to be impossible.
Yeah, it may be.
Trying to
Both
kick
of them got decent
right.
kickers.
They got
Bass and-
kickers, but
and Boswell, but
with that wind, who knows?
you don't know where the ball.
Yeah, that's a good point. You bring up an interesting point. Pittsburgh has not played well in the playoffs at all.
Makes me want to flip it, especially since it moved under the double figure.
Right.
Even though it's only a half a point, it was still that's what you read, which is true.
Yeah,
I
it's
read
true.
it too after I looked at it, seen it. 0-9.
They're
When it's in
0-9.
double
They
digits.
can't
It's not
cover.
now. And now since it's not in double digits, do I want to flip my
Yeah.
pick to Buffalo? I am.
All right.
I'm gonna try to go into tradition.
All right. I'll think about it.
Yeah,
I'll
think about it.
debate it.
That's a tough one.
It's Sunday at 1:00, so I
Yeah,
might
still
send
got
you a
some time.
text Sunday morning and change it.
Yeah.
I'll see. I think. Let's move on. Packers are at the Cowboys. Packers won last week over the Bears, 17-9 at home. Jordan Love's playing really good.
Yeah, and why people don't talk about him enough?
Not
They
at
talk
all.
about everything else, and it's like he's just. And then I look at his statistics. He don't have that many interceptions. He's got 30-something touchdowns,
He's really playing good. Yeah.
and it really came along. So, but I'm gonna be honest with you in this one. I don't know what the point total is.
7.
It don't matter. I think this is going to be the blowout. I do. I hate to say that because I would love
Well,
to
Dallas
see Green
is
Bay
at home.
Yeah, that's why. In their offense, when they're at home, they just keep coming and just keep coming.
They're a different team.
Yeah, and they just keep. Once they got you down, it's not like let's go conservative. Nope, they just keep coming and coming in droves, and they will blow you out. So I'm taking Dallas.
Yeah, as much as Green Bay's got nothing to play for, and they could go down there loosey-goosey and give them a game, I just don't see it.
Yeah,
And knowing what I see with the Cowboys at home,
and they're just a whole different team.
and they are the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when it comes to home and away.
And people don't be misguided by last week's win at Washington. They did beat Washington on the road.
35-10.
And they struggled at first.
They
and
did.
Then they got on a roll and took them out. But they were playing the Commandos.
Yeah.
Those are Commandos. We're waiting for the Commanders maybe
they're-
next season. But
yeah.
those Commandos, they just took care of them. And I don't even want to guide that as anything of a measurement. Now they're great on the road. No. But at home, I can't say anything negative about them at home. They will destroy you.
Just so you know, Jordan Love this year is 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, a quarterback rating 96.1%.
And this is first year starting.
First year, and he's thrown for 4,159 yards, completion percent 64.2.
And a lot of these interceptions was early in the year, if people remember.
He's got it figured out now.
Yeah.
I like Jordan Love. I think he's going to develop.
What if they upset him, Pat? What do you think? Wouldn't that be something? That would be something, but I just don't see it happening.
What concerns me more than anything is in Dallas, if they get the rush and put a lot of pressure on Jordan Love and rattle him early, it could be a blowout.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
If they don't get the pressure and he gets kind of settled down, this could be a game. And that's what the 7 points, that's what I'm kind of debating about, is because but I'm still gonna go with Dallas just because they're home.
Yeah, that's
and when you look at how they've just dismantled team on their home field, and again,
but you know what I like to look at all the statistics of the thing, and what you brought up was very important. Dallas pass rush, if they get on him with their blitzes and stuff, but he is second rated quarterback in passer rating against the blitz. That is I could not believe it when they said that. I said, what? He's a second. I forgot who was number one. He's number two. And we know Dallas is coming. So if he can be successful and hit some receivers and make some big plays, that might have them like, hey, we can't be sending all these guys all the time. We have to do something different. I'm still keep my pick.
Yeah,
but
it's something to think about.
Yeah, but it's something. If he's that type of guy and he can deal with this pass rush, this is a different type of pass rush though. If he can do it, man, he can make it a game. They can make it a game. We're gonna see. I'm gonna still stay with Dallas. They've just been so tremendous.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm going to go on.
I can't flip it from that. I mean,
I really can't.
Yeah, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to stay with that one.
But it does give you. Well, here's the deal too: is if Dallas loses, McCarthy's getting canned.
He's gone.
I mean, I don't think
he's one of the best coaches,
and he's really a great coach.
Yeah,
I think he is. I think he's really good.
But who you got as the owner?
But
that guy's going to flip
Jerry
to somebody else so quick.
Yep. And if McCarthy, rumor has it, people believe he needs to win 2 games. He's going to
at least
he has got to win his 2 home games. If he loses the conference, that would get him into the conference final. If he wins this week and next week, if he wins this week, they'll be home next week, and then if he wins that, then he'll be in the conference final probably.
And if it's San Fran, you have to go there. Some kind of way.
But if
Philly or
San
Tampa
Fran
Bay
gets
or somebody, now you'll have it at home.
You could have it at home.
Going to the Super Bowl.
And you could actually end up in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But there's experts believe that if he doesn't win at least 2 games in the playoffs, they're going to, he's out. Because Belichick's standing there and Vrabel's there. That's the other thing is when you have, and even Carroll, but if you've got those 3 coaches, now obviously Carroll and Belichick old, Vrabel's young, very young. But the point is, you may not want to fire your coach, but when you have this much talent out there in the basic talent pool for head coaches, you might be thinking, well, man, our guy's okay, but he's not as good as Mike Vrabel.
Right.
And if he loses, like Philadelphia, we're to get there. But, Sirianni's another guy that if he loses to Tampa Bay, people have him out.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be quick, but we're not there to know what's going on inside.
We
That's
don't
why I say
know.
when stuff happens, something's not going right inside
People
the building.
keep pointing to the coordinators he lost both his coordinators and things haven't
that's
been
what I
right.
can see from the outside in, but what's going on inside? And if it's not going good inside, he can be out the door.
Well, he started out 11-1, and he's basically what was he 10-1, and then he's 10. He was 10-1. He went 1-6
since then. Yep. Or
1-5. 1-5.
No,
yeah,
is that
1-5.
right?
My bad.
Yeah, that's
My
right.
bad.
Yep.
So 10-1. He's 1-5. So
it's unacceptable.
And
It's
he's
been injuries and stuff, but it's something that's not right. It was never playing right anyway all season. And I like I said, I'm going to direct some of that to the coordinators. But even by that time, your coordinator's gone. You got to be able to mold something, get your team molded in a certain way to be able to handle what you got now. Because you still got talent. There's no question about that. You got some injuries, but you still got talent.
You got the talent.
And you're not able to do it. So defensive backfield is terrible, and the pass rush is not what it was last year. So 2 bad combinations.
Let's get to the Rams at the Lions. Then we'll get to the Eagles and the Bucks.
Woo.
This is going to be the Sunday nighter. For the record, tomorrow, Dallas Packers. Now, it's going to be cold in Dallas. It's going to be like 39 degrees down there, which is, for them, cold. Packers think that's spring in Dallas.
Yeah, they probably
Green
get some
Bay,
shorts
that's
on.
early. That's mid-spring in Green Bay. 39 degrees is like, okay, we can walk around with short-sleeve shirts on in Green Bay at 39 degrees.
Yeah.
But Dallas, that's cold. That's indoors. They don't have to. Well,
they could close the.
They could
roof.
close. Jerry could close the roof.
He probably will,
and he will, because they don't want to play it. That's too cold for.
Right. He's going to keep the elements to his team, so he's going to definitely do that.
That's not going to be an issue, because Jerry will have that. They're not playing in 39 degrees.
No way. He's going to have it right for his Cowboys.
He's going to have it right. The boys are playing in good weather. They're not going to be playing
75 in there, 70 right in there.
Yeah, they're going to be. Dallas is going to be good. They're not playing in cold weather down there. Not in Jerry World. So, getting back to the Rams are at the Lions. That's a dome, so we don't have to worry about weather there. Set -3. This is the breakup goal. I guess this is I don't know how you want to call it. I heard that out there because Stafford, was traded from the Lions to the Rams, and vice versa. They're playing against their old teams.
Yeah.
And, McVay pretty much cut Golf, traded him, didn't tell him anything, and just said, he found out, I guess, through the internet, I guess now I'm a Lion, and he didn't even get a phone call. But Golf doesn't seem to really care. He's, playing good for Lions, and obviously Stafford's got a Super Bowl, and now they're playing. Rams are playing good. They're rolling.
Playing great too.
Dangerous team.
Yep, real dangerous. Yeah, they are.
So your question's going to be, the Lions are laying 3 points.
This is a hard one.
This looks like push all over it potentially.
It's hard because
I've heard all these. Everybody that I've listened to seems to like the Rams on this. Everybody is like the Rams.
When you look at both teams for the last 4 weeks, who's been playing the best?
The Rams.
Solid on defense. Aaron Donald, crazy, and now you got other players playing good on there. The offenses look great. Kyron Williams is a great fight.
Yeah.
That is great. So you got that going for you. The receivers.
And they've built this team. They really haven't had a lot of draft.
No.
They haven't had their last first round draft pick was Jared Goff, was Golf. Rams.
Yeah.
They were saying
it was all messed up after all that
after
stuff.
that,
They didn't have nothing. They mortgaged everything.
They mortgaged everything for that Super Bowl.
Yep. And now they get guys in
but
second and
they're picking
third
guys
round,
up in all these.
and look what they do.
Yeah.
Some great scouting there. You got to give them credit. Some great scouting. And
well, when you look at Super Bowl teams and you look at a lot of good teams, that's how they build their rosters. Yeah. 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks are the guys that come out of nowhere and end up really starting and playing great, end up on the all pro.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of guys there, or undrafted free agents, guys that just you scouted, came out of college and you signed them up. It's like, wow, who's this guy?
Yeah. I don't know what team we getting. What Detroit team, I mean. If you get the Rams with what they've been, I'm going with them all day. But if you get the Lions playing like they can play,
that's
not against like they played against Minnesota, it was okay.
No.
Those other games we've seen them play, I don't know if the Rams, I don't know. That's going to be a dog fight. And that's why what you said might be true. It's a push all over this thing.
3 -3.
It's a push. So it almost makes you just want to take the points. Whoever the points, the Rams getting the points, I'm just going to take them.
Me too.
I'm taking the points because that's what I looked for. This is going to be. It's the last one too on Sunday, right?
This is
the night
game.
Is
the Sunday night on NBC.
Perfect. Just sit down and watch that.
So
I'm just gonna watch it. I'll be engulfed in that.
Right. Today, 4:30 today, NBC, Browns at Texans. NBC, you're good. Tonight is where the rub is. You got to pay, Roger and the owners.
I'm glad I got that
money.
Little system thing. I can just turn it on.
You get it. Yeah.
What do come on afterwards? I believe looks like that's what the agreement is. At 12 midnight.
Right. You can watch it.
You can watch it on NFL Network or something.
Yeah,
like
NFL Network probably has it right after the game.
Right after the game is over, it comes right on.
Okay. Well, it's a little past. I don't think I can stay up for that.
I know. Peacock, come on, man.
But come on with the Peacock. But I still think he should put dollar bills signs all on the end zone lines and down the out along the field. Just put dollar bill signs everywhere.
That guy.
Just, put your hand out. We're all, PSLs are good investments, Roger.
Yeah.
That's what you were told. So anyway, not to digress, but we were talking, okay, that's
the Rams.
That's the
Rams.
Rams, Lions. I was going over the team. So Saturday night, Fins at Chiefs, Peacock, 8:00. Sunday, CBS, Steelers at the Bills, 1:00. 4:30, Packers at the Cowboys and Fox. Sunday night game, NBC. All network games, so
Yep.
Not Peacock, but everything else is on a network. You don't need cable. Finally, Eagles are at the Buccaneers on the Monday nighter. That's on ABC and ESPN. And the Mannings are going to be doing that game. Or Peyton and Eli do that Manning cast, which is actually pretty entertaining.
Right.
Those guys are good. Eagles are at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are getting 3 points.
And it's hard to go against your own team, but I'm taking the points.
You're going to take the Buccaneers.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take the point, because they don't have a good track record
now, Becker,
against them in the playoffs.
Baker is banged up a little
he
bit,
is.
but he's said he's ready to go. That concerns me.
He played last week, even though he's banged
They
up.
They played not good last week.
No, I know.
That was an ugly game.
But I know he's probably a little healthier than he was last week. But
the Eagles, I think the Eagles, I'll tell you one thing.
They got to get it fixed on this game.
My take on the Eagles is this. Look, I'm a Giant fan. The Eagles weren't interested in playing that game against the Giants. They didn't want to play. That team did not come to play. That Sunday game when the Eagles basically went into the meadow, they had no desire. I'm sorry, they did not want to play that game,
which is crazy. Which
is absolutely crazy,
and that will make you think that he will lose his job,
right?
Because they had an opportunity, even though it wouldn't have happened. Dallas did beat Washington,
but they didn't want to play.
But you get out there and make it where, hey, we can get a chance to get home, a home game. No. And no, you didn't do that.
They were losing that game
right off the top.
They were losing. What was that? That halftime score. I was watching that game. I got the YouTube, so I was watching that game and all these. Okay, the whole point of that game is this. I thought to myself, because look, I'm a Giant fan, but all right, I have to admit, I'm probably on the cynical side of Giant fan. I get it. However, the Philadelphia Eagles I believe they were down, was it 24-3 at half?
Yep, something like that. Or
24-0? I'm pulling
either one of them.
They were losing 24-0 at half. That's what I thought it was. I wanted to make sure. The Eagles were losing that game 24-0 at halftime. They did not want to play that game against the Giants. They had no desire to go out there and play that game.
Yeah, it's going through they looked like they were going through the motions.
They were. But they just were done.
They see the effort.
They had no effort because the Giants looked really good, and I know they're not that good. Tyrod, they need to probably keep Tyrod around. I think the Giants need to keep him, draft a quarterback. You have him third string, Tyrod the backup, and Jones, because Jones will probably get hurt anyway next year because he just does, because he's going to get hit a lot unless they get that line figured out. That's my concern with Philadelphia. Now, do they figure it out in the week time frame to go down to Tampa Bay, who's, let's call it, they're a mediocre team that won their mediocre division?
Right. But this is the problem, though. I just look at their history against Tampa Bay in the playoffs. It's not good.
No.
They always have some issues with them. So, and they're not playing like they're inspired. Now, this should inspire you because it's for the big dance now. So we'll see. But if they're not, they will get beat.
What I'm going to do after I went into that big diatribe, I think they get it together. I think they win. I think the Eagles win it. I'll lay the 3. I think they cover it. I think they figure it out. If they don't figure it out, I'll go on record that if the Eagles get beat, they're looking for a coach.
Oh, yeah. I think he might be gone.
Even though he got into the Super Bowl last year and lost in a again, not to go down that road, but the referees decided that game.
And that's why so many teams don't like Jamar Chase. He said, I don't care what team makes it to the Super Bowl, just not the Chiefs.
Right. Yeah, because that's right.
Because he said it in his little thing at the end of the season.
He's right. They get every call.
The Chiefs, and he said that in the Super Bowl, he said the Philadelphia Eagles should be the Super Bowl champs, not the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's right.
But everything is. Well, we done seen that before.
But
a lot of teams,
right? That's not the first time.
We done seen it with New England. We done seen it with a lot of teams. So
all these picks I can change. The only team I really feel remotely confident about is the Cowboys, and only because it's of all these picks and Kansas City. I just don't think Miami's going to do well.
Those two. That's it for me.
But that's it. These teams, I could change to the Texans. I could change to the Bills. I could change to the Lions. I could do everything. I don't know.
Yep.
Hey, that's the show.
Alrighty.
We'll do it again next week. Everybody stay safe. Do not drink and do not drive. If you're going to go out tonight, get a designated driver. Don't drive your car while you're intoxicated or drinking. And buckle up, by the way, if you're driving, but stay sober. Saturday Morning Sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Have a safe week.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge, a part of the Sports Map Radio Network.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In 96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in 09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
This is Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms, and your home for Phantoms hockey is Western Reserve Radio.
As well, but I think that this is a lower scoring kind of a sloppy game offensively, and I guess we'll see what happens, but I like the under. I couldn't really pin it on a side.
Yeah, I my instincts tell me to take Tampa. Right. But I don't think Mayfield's healthy.
Yep.
And so even though they say he's healthy, the last two games, they scored late touchdowns against the Saints. Were never in that game. Mayfield was terrible. And they scored 9. They kicked 3 field goals against the Panthers. So, how am I going to be able to say that he's healthy? Now, if he is healthy with Evans and Godwin and the ability to throw the ball against a bad secondary and a defensive front, that we'll have a harder time the longer the game goes. Remember, we're going to Florida. So the weather does factor here. We're hearing it's going to be raining with thunderstorms, but there's going to be humidity. And if the defensive line isn't in shape, they're going to get tired in the third or fourth quarter. And if they get tired, it's going to help Mayfield throw the football. So, I just feel like, this is a hard handicap. The line has moved to Philly. I think that's reflective of Mayfield's injury.
Yeah, I mean, just skepticism of Baker Mayfield and his status. They're clearly compromised if you watch that Week 18 game against the Carolina Panthers. All right, let's talk about this afternoon's game here, Browns and the Texans. And we're seeing some Houston money show up here on game day. This was 2 the last couple of days. The Texan money came, but now we're seeing the Browns money come. Now we're out to 2.5 minus 115. 2.5 is our consensus number here, total 44.5. And I'll ask you the similar question that I asked John McClain in hour number 1. How much of that first game can you kind of apply to this game, given that C.J. Stroud was in the concussion protocol when they played in Week 16?
Well, I think it has some element to it, right? But you can't anticipate that the Cleveland Browns are going to go throw for 265 yards to Amari Cooper in this game. Mm-hmm. You got to believe that D'Amico Ryans is going to adjust the coverages, kind of take him out. Flacco did a lot of this moving in the pocket, right? It wasn't like it was a straight drop back, throw the ball down the field. The first play of the game was. First play of the game, they caught their safeties peeking into the run, and they hit Cooper over the top for the touchdown. And then Flacco made a good play on the move to score the touchdown. I think this is an Njoku game. I think that the attention's going to go to Cooper. I think Moore and Njoku are going to be the big players and the beneficiaries of that. And what I think they have to do is they're going to have to find a little bit of balance, because one of the things you can't do is throw it 42 times and have Flacco turn it over. That's going to help a home team tremendously. And they're going to have to come up with a way to convert these third and shorts, whether they bring someone in at quarterback. Remember, last time they played them, Thompson Robinson, the quarterback, was still on their active roster. He came in and actually ran a play in the goal line. Mm-hmm. So they because of Flacco's inability to move, you know that these movement plays by the quarterback on 3rd and 2 are probably not going to be there. It makes it a lot harder to convert those. So I think the game has some element of what it's important, but it also doesn't. And I think they did a good job of trying to protect Myles Garrett. Houston did. But I'm sure Schwartz is going to have a different game plan for Bobby Slovic, that he's going to try to take advantage of this offensive line. And if they get behind in the snap count, like John McClain did, and where they're penalized, and they've been penalized 132 times, they're the 5th most penalized team in the league, that's going to be really hard. Because overcoming those negative plays with Schwartz makes it even harder, because he's going to come after Stroud.
Yeah. And you wrote about this on VSiN.com. We encourage everybody to check it out there in the newsletter and on VSiN.com about rookies and first-time starters in the postseason. Well, since 1990, Michael, rookie quarterbacks are 11-18 straight up in the playoffs, 5-7-1 against the spread on Wild Card Weekend in the last 20 years. Do you put a lot of stock into that? I mean, maybe Stroud is the exception to the rule, because Stroud has been terrific this season. But still, he is a rookie quarterback and hasn't quite experienced postseason NFL play.
Well, it's different. Let's face it. The postseason is different. Every possession is magnified. Every possession is important. Every 3rd and short becomes so critical. And if you take a risk and you're not rewarded for it, all of a sudden you get behind in the game, and now all of a sudden it's single elimination. You know, once you put single elimination into the equation, people have a tendency to stress. People have a tendency to play it a little bit safer. Look, we know this. During the regular season, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I'll generalize, during the regular season, a typical NFL regular season, the unders cash about 53% of the time. Mm-hmm. During playoffs, the unders cash at 59% of the time. Because the clock, you got to be able to run the ball effectively when you have to run it. You have to control your possessions. You've got to play a certain pace and a certain style. And I think that's going to be really important in the first game. And playoff football is about styles and play, as opposed to we're just going to go and see what's going on. You've got to really do a good job of managing the game. And look, we're going to be here tomorrow morning, and we're going to talk about why one team won and why one team lost. And most of the time, it's going to come down to 3 things. It's going to come down to who couldn't convert short yardage, who couldn't put the ball in the end zone and had to settle for field goals, or stupidly not kick 3 points, right? And then it's going to come down to who wins the turnover battle, including the field goals. So those are the 3 areas of playoff football, and you've got to be really good. You got to have a lot of 2-point plays in your repertoire when you go into this game. Why? Because you're going to need those 2-point plays to convert 3rd or 4th and short. It's just the way you've got to set it up is going to be effective. And then this is a game about matchups. This is a game about players, not plays. Your best players have to play well today.
Yeah, and if you're Houston, that's C.J. Stroud, and it's those young defenders, Will Andersons, the Derek Stingleys. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, it's Flacco, it's Amari Cooper, it's Myles Garrett, and what they're able to do on that defensive side of the ball here. Last thing on Stroud and rookie quarterbacks here. Rookie quarterbacks have faced the number 1 defense 3 other times in NFL history. All 3 times they lost in the playoffs. So 0-3 straight up when a rookie QB has gone up against the number 1 defense. Stroud will be the 4th rookie to do that later on this afternoon. I don't have a play on the side or the total in this game. I guess maybe I would tease Houston reluctantly. There's just a lower total game, maybe up to 8.5. But John McClain's saying that if Houston's going to win this game, he expects it needs to be higher scoring, because Flacco and that offense might be able to find some success down the field. So maybe this is the over that could be a potential play here at 44.
I think it's an under game. I think they're going to have to run it, control it, and take away the big play of Cleveland. The big play of Cleveland is why Flacco's having so much success.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a